Okay. So yeah, I'll just start with a very casual one. I still don't have a name for the chat show actually. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode where I'm very late on shooting with someone else. I'm sorry. We are making a chat show pretty regular thing here, and I have a lot of people lined up. But after such a long hiatus on this, I have an amazing person, and it is
Mike
Micro
Janda,
Janda, everybody!
woo!
Woo!
You know what's crazy is why we haven't done content until now, because we've been friends for like 3 years, and we've both been
Yeah,
making content. We both have audience on various social medias, and we've never made
yeah.
content. The amount of DMs, I didn't scroll back on our DMs, but it's a lot of DMs over the last 3 years. So how is it possible that this is the first
Well,
time that
better
we're making
late than better late than
I
never, right?
guess it
I
is.
mean, I've been seeing your recent reels and YouTube videos, which you have been like very consistent about.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I think this is so inspirational. I should get it back into it. And you know what? I should just ask you for it. Like,
Ye
do you want to come in and chat about it?
Totally.
So
I would have said yes 3 years ago. But you know what? I
I
haven't
know.
I haven't instigated a lot of, collabs myself, and I need to do more of that because there's so many people like you that are they're people I'm friends with that are smart and talented, and they're all over the world, and I never sit down and have these conversations unless they ask me, which I've just gotta change that and do more of this kinda thing with my initiative and not waiting for somebody to
I
ask
mean,
me.
you have been so active on YouTube, and I'm sure
Yeah.
everybody is following you. And oh god, and
It's
the content you have is like super good, super
Oh,
good, and
thank
it's like
you.
packed with
Thank you.
knowledge. And just keep
Thank
doing it.
you.
It's really
Thank
really
you.
good. So yeah, welcome to the channel.
The thing that is impressive to me, so, about you is, like, I was running my agency from 2002 to 2015 when I sold it, and during that run, when you had international designers, like in India or Indonesia or Philippines or whatever, it was an emerging they were emerging markets, and it was the stereotype was that the quality was not as good as what you would get in the United States. This is back in my agency years. In the last like 3 or 4 years that I've made relationships with people like you and see the work quality coming out of India and Indonesia and the Philippines and all over the Middle East, there are some freaking amazing designers in those markets now, and so the progress has just been so impressive. Like your work holds up to anybody's work anywhere in the world. There's no like stereotypical, oh, she's an Indian designer, she's not as it's not as talented, so it's going to cost you less. That's gone, and you have international clients, US based clients, um, which is just evidence of the fact that you're producing work at a quality that is competitive with anyone else in the world. And I have loved to see that over the last few years because the kind of early on stigma from 15 years ago is gone in my perception as a creative.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the industry has gone pretty up here, for example, and
Yeah.
with the boom of the internet and a lot of resources like yours, your
Mhm.
channel and your courses, for example, people have been learning a lot. And I think India has such an amazing artistic culture anyways, our style of art, but with design now.
Yeah.
So you can see a lot
Yeah.
of colors, and we can adapt to anything now, which is really great. And
Yeah.
I've been seeing that growth anyways, like even with myself. I think when I started to explore YouTube or like
Yeah.
visual aids or visual like courses, not just like on text,
Sure.
right? But visual courses and processes and everything. I think internet,
Yeah, that's
is
that's
one of
where it
the
is. It's
best
the
teachers.
education is available to people anywhere in the world now. So you just go on YouTube. I'm dropping content on YouTube that's so freaking valuable with downloadables and stuff that you don't even learn some of this stuff unless you're in the trenches of the real world. And when I was learning design back in my era of growth, there was no YouTube. and it was the beginning of the internet. So you would look at other people's websites and then kind of reverse engineer how they were building it using the inspector to see their code, view source. And that's how I learned, but I never learned from a course or people other than university, but people telling me, hey, here's a little trick on drop shadows, and here's a little trick on, pick choosing your colors and stuff. Those little tricks my generation of designers had to just kind of figure it out. But your generation of designers can pull up hundreds or thousands of hours of tutorials on YouTube and learn so much. So if you're hungry for self education, there is no limit to what you can do in self education. You don't have to go to Art Center in LA to become a designer
Hmm.
anymore.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, like this again, you can weigh in about this. A lot of people ask me about, is university or design education necessary? Because we have a lot of people going from engineers to designers or doctors to designers because they love it.
Yeah.
For me, I do have a bachelor's in design and fine arts, so I come from a creative academically, but for sure I didn't learn very technical skills there, but I definitely got to explore people,
Yeah.
network with
Yeah.
other creative people, and for sure I loved that whole experience. And the amount of passion you see in one room at that time, I've never seen it out of university.
Mm.
So for example, you if you never, people usually say that you don't get the design education, you don't need it. For sure you don't need it, but
Mhm.
it's great if you have it, right?
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts about
M
like design education, university, anything?
so, my thoughts have changed over the years on that. My perception is education is required, but where you get the education does not matter anymore. You can be self-taught through YouTube videos, free YouTube content. You can take online courses. Me as a former creative director hiring designers or a former agency owner hiring designers, I did not care where they got educated. I didn't care if it was self education. I didn't care if it was trial and error. I didn't care if it was university or a master's degree. I didn't care. What I cared about was that they knew their stuff. They knew how to design. They knew how to reach a target audience. They knew how to communicate effectively through design. That's what I cared about. But I didn't care where it came from. So one of the examples that I use is one of my friends who I worked with at Fox. I was a creative director at Fox. He was my art director. He had an associate's degree in design, which is just like a 2-year program. He has been massively successful, like running massive teams for AOL and NBC, and now at Comcast is a VP level creative there running these teams and departments and stuff. And but he has a 2-year associate's degree, but he's just so good at so many things. So I think the requirement is you got to get educated, but it really doesn't matter where that education comes from, and the certificate or the diploma doesn't matter anymore nearly as much as what it did probably 30 years ago, where that actually would open some doors for you. I don't even look. Like my entire run of hiring people at my agency, I hired over my before I sold, I had hired 74 people, I think, over the agency run. And I didn't care on any of them where they got a degree, if they had a degree. I just cared that they knew what they needed to know to be able to produce the work that my agency was producing.
Hmm.
That's the most important
No, I
thing.
completely agree. Because recently I've been hiring people. It's very new to me.
Mm,
So I've had like these people who are self-taught on one end and didn't have any education, like a formal education in
yeah.
design or creativity in general. And second are people with masters from abroad universities and everything.
Yeah.
There is no equation there.
Yeah.
It just like if you have good experience, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people with their master's degree just creating beautiful things,
Yeah.
but when you actually get them to work on certain projects with deadlines,
Yeah.
oh my God, they cannot
This can be
work
challenging,
because,
yeah.
yeah,
And it's not to say that the master's degree doesn't have value, because there's no question it has value. Education has value. That's what has value, education. And if you decide to go to university and get a master's degree in fine art and stuff, you're getting the education, and that education is going to be enormously valuable to you. But it isn't the only way to get educated. So if you're driven, self-motivated, or don't have access to the financial means to be able to go to university, or the location, you're living somewhere in remote village of India somewhere, and it's just unrealistic to go to a university, but you have an internet connection, you can self-educate your way into a master's degree in design through the resources that you can find on the internet.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing, right? You are never needed. The degree, it's never needed,
Yeah.
for sure. It's, I think, the exposure or education you want.
Yeah.
I think getting a degree is one way of doing it, you
Yes.
know?
It's one way of doing it.
So, yeah.
That's the
But
change
yeah, I,
that's really happened over the last
mhm.
probably 20 years, where that shift has happened, that it's not the only way, and it's not even a required way anymore. Now, it is required. If you're gonna be a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer, designing the world's tallest building, I kinda think you should have a degree and some, license of some sort to be able to design using the math that's required to be able to have the
Yeah.
world's tallest building actually be built. But if you're gonna do brain
As a doctor,
surgery,
you need to
yeah,
know where
you're
you're
gonna cut
cutting,
my brain
or
open and,
whatever.
like, rewire something, I kinda want
Yeah.
you to have a degree for that. But designing
Yeah.
something that is going to reach a target audience, a degree is only one way that you can learn how to do that. Free content and paid courses online is a completely justifiable other way to learn that.
I
Yeah,
agree. I think creativity is such a subjective thing. And design, when a lot of things with strategies and research do come in, and when you're actually applying it to the real world, I think experience is everything. I think the more you have experience in this world, I
yeah,
think, the bigger value you're bringing into the next project that you're doing, I think.
yeah. I had that happen when my first job out of school, after I graduated from university. I graduated in fine art, um, and I got my first job. And I think I learned more in the first 6 months after graduating than I did in the 4 years before graduating from university. The 6 months afterwards, just that crash course of, "Oh my gosh, I have to figure out how to do this thing with the software that I've never had to figure out before." And that education is what really had a transformative effect on my career. The I would tell people in the early days that in the university education system, I learned how to learn. That's what I learned. I learned how to identify something that I needed to learn and then structure my own education around figuring that thing out. I learned how to learn from a formal education, but I didn't learn all the things that I needed to know to be able to succeed in my career. Most of those things I learned after university. And especially for designers, and like your career has been long enough now that you've seen so many changes in the way things are built, especially on the digital side of stuff. Websites being built one way 15 years ago, and now it's completely different. You have no code builders and things. All these tools are different. So you have to continually educate yourself as a designer. It's a nonstop. Pay attention to where things are going. Right now, it's AI, and I know that's on our list, but how are you going to use AI as part of your design process? Because other designers are figuring it out right now, and it's not going away, and you have to figure it out too. But that was something that wasn't even talked about 5 years ago. Like 5 years ago, we're just in there still designing, building stuff. And now we have to figure out, how do we compete against and win or use the AI tools as part of our arsenal when we create things for our clients.
For sure, because I am seeing so many designers and illustrators just being freaked out about this
Yeah.
AI thing. And I know why it is going on, because I've
Yeah.
seen illustrators close to me, like my friends, their art is getting ripped off by AI, and it's pretty
Mhm.
common nowadays.
Yeah.
And recently, on a positive note, I mean, we recently used Chat GPT for creating a brief for our
Mm.
clients on the project that we did. Because we were explaining the whole project to the client in a very creative way, and that client was not creative at all.
Mm.
So ChatGPT kind of, made it a pretty, what do you call it, a basic
Yeah.
meaning out of the whole
Yeah.
thing that we were trying to explain, which is great. And
Yeah.
it was great for communication in the end. But I would love to know your thoughts on, how we can maneuver around this new AI thing
Y
for
y That's
designers.
so good of a question. I've done a few YouTube videos recently just for my own effort to explore AI and see what the deal is, and one of them I made an entire product and marketing website and stuff using AI, and all the product images, it was these war horn headphones, and, it turned out really cool. It was really cool. The things that I got out of that experience were realizing that AI designers are going to be the ones using AI in the short run. It's not going to be the client. The client typically isn't going to be the one saying, "Oh, I don't need to hire a designer for that. Let's just go and use the AI tool and have it create the name for our business or design our logo." The designer is the one that's probably going to be using AI for the next batch of 5, 10 years or so. This is my assumption. It won't take away designer jobs from clients, because clients still don't know if the results of the AI are the right ones to go with. There's still a human intuition that needs to happen. So you could go to an AI, let's say you're a client, and you say, okay, design a logo for my pizza restaurant. Give me three different options. And then it spits those three options to you. Which one is the one that you should choose as the client? Well, if you don't have a designer involved in the process, how do you know which one is going to be the most effective or is the nicest designed version? You don't. So I see AI as a tool to augment what designers produce more than it is a tool to replace the designer in the process. Because I can't imagine in the short run a client just saying, "Oh, I'd never hire a designer anymore. I'll just go and tell the AI to build my website." Well, how do they know that that website's even going to be effective? It's better if AI is in the hands of a designer and the designer is using it as a tool. One of the ways that I use AI now, that I love ChatGPT. I have it write alternate versions of marketing messages for me all the time. I'll write my own message, like for the top of a landing page for one of my courses or something, and I'll write my own version. And then I'll just say, "Hey, Chat GPT, give me 5 alternate versions of this marketing message that I just wrote." And then it spits them back to me in just a few seconds. And it almost always sparks a new idea for me to tweak the one that I had, and it makes it better. But it takes me asking it the prompt. It takes me creating the original, initial, foundational idea. And then it takes me um, digesting the 5 ideas that it gives me back and pulling out little snippet that I'm going to use instead of something else that I had before. So I kind of see ChatGPT as like the ultimate brainstorm partner for designers.
For
Um,
sure. Yeah.
I launched my community. I have a community for designers I launched a couple weeks ago. And during one of our calls with the group coaching,
MCA,
yeah, MCA, More Creative
right?
Academy.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. And in one of our calls, we had 3 people who were from Florida in the United States on the call. And we were talking about positioning, like positioning your agency and stuff. And I threw out the question, how many small businesses are there in Florida? Like if you were going to target small businesses just in Florida, and that's the kind of thing that you can just ask Chat GPT and it spits back to you that it was like 8 million or something, or 2 million small businesses in Florida, and gives you the stat. That kind of data that is just so quickly available to you now because of AI is so valuable in the process that you use as a designer to create things for your clients.
For sure. Recently, I used ChatGPT again for the process, like you said. I got this. simple editorial illustration job, a commission for like one piece. And what I usually do is just sit down with with it for a day or two, depending on the deadlines, of
Mhm.
course, and I just sketch out a lot of ideas. But I used Dall-E for
Yeah.
that,
Mhm.
and it gave me a lot of different. It was very pathetic, by the way, but it gave me a lot of layout options,
Yeah.
or like color options,
Yeah.
or like this cat can be big and the human can be small, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, oh, you know what, it kind of helps me not brainstorm all of this for a day, and I can
Yeah.
get this cat or like this human from here or like these colors from here and just start sketching on my own,
Yeah.
which really helped me a lot, and just do it in my own style. So again, like you said, it really helped me with like my brainstorming sessions. So
Yeah.
it was really nice. I
I
liked it for sure.
I do, yeah, I think it's great that way as it's like the ultimate brainstorm partner for a designer right now. Um, you mentioned, AI taking some of the art style or artistic elements from some of your friends' stuff. I had a piece of content. I used AI images during my exploration of AI. I used a couple AI images in one of my weekly newsletters that goes out to creative entrepreneurs, and, I used those images in there, and I had somebody reply back to me saying, "Hey, don't use AI. You need to support the design community. There, there are people who would do this for free for you and that kind of stuff." And I was sitting there thinking, wait a second. Number one, I would never, in my perception, I would never want to take advantage of another designer and have them design something for free for me. Number two, I wouldn't pay somebody to do an illustration for my weekly newsletter. I would just find stock photos somewhere. I wouldn't pay, it's not something that I would purchase from another designer. If I can't make the image myself, I'm just going to grab a stock photo and I'm just going to put it in there. So the fact that I used AI did not take away anybody's job. It was just the tool that I used to fulfill that, because I never would have hired somebody to do a custom illustration for my weekly newsletter that goes to a small enough batch of audience that it's not worth the financial investment. And I think that the people who currently pay for custom art are still going to pay for custom art. They're still going to want human attached to that. It's hard for me to envision a world where the AI tools in the short run are actually stealing jobs from designers and illustrators. They're going to be just augmenting the quantity of things that non-designers use in there. Like, you might send a newsletter, and instead of sending it with no image at all, you're going to send it out with two AI images that you had made for your newsletter. But you would have in the past just sent it out with no image at all, and your community or your audience would have received it like that. So in one sense, it's not stealing anybody's job, because the paid things, like you're designing a book cover for your latest best-selling novel, well, you're probably going to have a budget set aside to hire somebody to do that thing. And you're not going to go to AI and say, design my book cover for me, and just use that to go stick on the shelf. I don't see that happening in the short run.
Yeah. Because I say the same thing, because the more AI generated content or designs or graphics get, very common,
Yeah.
the more valuable, as you said, people attached to the original designs are going to get more valuable.
Yeah.
Because when we saw a boom in digital art, people who actually started painting posters got, pretty valuable, and people started to buy actual painted posters.
Yeah. It's interesting.
And I think that's going to happen, because the more common it gets, the more cheap it's going to be. And if AI is going to be free, anybody can do it, like anybody can generate anything.
Yeah.
I feel the more you're going to get value out of people who are actually putting the effort into it,
Uh-huh.
because in the end, people love the human touch,
Yeah.
no matter what you say. I
Yeah.
think people love the a person behind some, an art that has been created, and
Yeah.
a story behind it and everything. And if I'm creating or generating a painting or a poster just through Dali or something, I'm not going to feel any attachment towards
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mhm.
because I can just create a version 2.0 within another second, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
So it's not going to be touched on by another human. So yeah, I
Yeah, there
think
would be
it's
I
pretty
love that
tricky.
mindset of increased value for the human touch, and so I had a couple thoughts while you were talking. Number 1 is that if you think of the
Mm,
design thinking process, step number 1 in design thinking is to empathize with the user, the end user. Who is this user? And we need to feel and associate ourselves. What are their problems and challenges? And then we go into solving that. So that creative process that's so much today is founded on this process of design thinking, empathy. Well, the AI is never going to have empathy. That is a
yeah.
human emotional attribute. I don't want to say never because somebody
Yeah.
will put in the comments, oh, yes, it will have
Yeah.
emotion. It's
Mm,
already alive, and maybe
yeah.
so. But for the short run, it is a robotic algorithm that is at work there. And that empathy piece, you got to understand who the target is super critical. The other thing I thought about, and I saw this posted somewhere, and I can't remember where it was or who said it, but they said in the future it will be like the badge on organic produce. You go to the store, the grocery store market, and you have the produce that isn't organic, and then you pay more money for the one that's stamped as organic because you know that it wasn't put filled with steroids or whatever to make the melon bigger, or the eggs, the cage free eggs. You buy those cage free eggs and you pay more money for them because you know that the chickens weren't just stuck into a little cage making eggs in an inhumane kind of environment. They were cage free, they're able to run around. So we're going to pay more for them. And that's what I could see happening in the future. The AI stuff will be clearly AI, and the human stuff will have a little stamp of approval like organic. This is human made. And now the stamp, and now it's more valuable than the AI made stuff. I think that there's something that probably happens with that.
Yeah, I saw an advertisement or a campaign. I'm not sure who did it, but they specifically wrote 100% human touch or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
in
I
there,
love
which
that.
was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Okay. I had
Yeah.
another thought too when you were talking. Something happened in my agency relating that relates to what's happening in AI right now. So in 2002, when I started my agency through about 2008, 2009, a big source of revenue for my agency were what I call brochure websites. Just an about the company page, a homepage about the company, the team, the services, just this little brochure website. Well, 2008, 2009, 2010, some of the no code builders started to emerge, namely Squarespace and Wix. And they started to take market share. And they started to get a lot of these low cost websites that we were doing for $15,000. Now people were building them on those kinds of platforms. They could build them themselves, or they could hire a less capable designer to design inside of the template and build it for 3 grand or 4 grand. It took away that lower cost project for us. That $10,000 to $15,000 brochure website went away. But what happened in my agency? We started getting the 50,000, the 100,000, the $300,000 project, the $500,000 project that we did. That was a website project that we did in 2012, was the mega enterprise stuff. Those things didn't go away with the no code builder template builders that were coming out. The brochure stuff, the small stuff went away. The big stuff stayed in the hands of humans and more experienced creatives. And I think you're going to see some of that with this AI stuff. Is it going to eat into some of people's jobs? Yes, the production level jobs get faster and easier in the hands of a designer. So you as a designer can produce things faster and better and more error free because of AI. So it's going to take away some of those lower end jobs, but the big paying stuff, the strategic, who is our customer, who's our audience, how do we reach them, what's the real problem we're solving here, those bigger design thoughts and things that we need to solve, those are going to stay in the hands of humans, and they're going to cost more money than what they did in the past. That's my expectation.
I think I think I know the reason why it happened with you guys, because with no code websites or website builders,
Hmm.
they are already giving a flat basic designs
Yeah.
which you maybe at that time you saw, so every company started to have the similar template
Yeah.
websites, and hence bigger companies don't want to fit in with them. That's
Yeah.
why they came to you, because they wanted a unique one, and they're like, innovate, do something better for us.
Yeah.
And I think at that time creativity kind of kicks in, because you want to stand out and not be another no code template website
Yeah.
for them
Yep.
with better services. So I understand. I think this can be applicable to where the industry is going right now, I think.
Yeah. I think so too. And I think you're spot on with that.
Mm.
That the companies that have a budget want something unique. They don't want it AI generated, you know? You
Yeah.
you're designing the cover of, okay, so then my 11-year-old son is super excited about the new Zelda game coming out in May, whatever, on Nintendo, whatever. So excited about it. They're not going to use an AI generated image on the cover of the box for that game. I guarantee it. They're not going to use AI generated image. They're going to pay, because that game is going to make $1 billion in probably just pre-sales. It's going to make $1 billion. There's so much demand for it. Um, so the big budget stuff, the people who would really spend, they're still going to be spending to have that human touch on it.
Especially with bigger companies who have like legendary histories, right? Like Zelda game for sure. It's like one of the best arcade games, and like they
Yeah.
started it and everything. And
Yeah.
with them, they're not going to take the risk of AI. I think they will keep it pretty unique and
Yeah.
something, because I feel that is what people will look and be, like, yes, I won the game.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the things that they're going to market it for sure. So I don't think they will, as you said, they're not going to use AI for that for sure.
Yeah. You know what? We just came out of this NFT boom over the last
Mm,
couple years, and if you look at that and consider like Gary V. Gary V started his V Friends thing. If Gary V's V Friends NFT project was not hand drawn by Gary V, his just little sketch thing that he does, if it was not hand drawn by Gary V and it was just AI generated by Gary V, Gary V typed in and said, "Hey, make a picture of a cat and put the name under it, the cat power," or whatever his thing was, it would have no value. It would be no value. But because he drew it and made his little personalized touch on it, it did have value. And people bought the V Friends NFTs and own those because they were human generated. There's no way that the NFTs that are AI generated are going to have the same value as the human generated NFTs. There's just
agreed, because
there's just no
anyone can
way.
do it. Anyone
Anyone can
can
do
get
it.
that creator.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always say that because people, I think recently we did a podcast with another friend of mine who she has amazing NFTs. And she brought this topic up about, AI generated NFTs. I'm like, the AI is the creator. You are not the creator.
Yeah.
Yes, you are like the prompt for the,
Yeah.
uh, it's your brainchild kind of, but the AI is the creator. If the prompts are close to yours, whoever does it in the future, it's going to create similar things.
Yeah.
So AI is the creator, you're not at that point. So
I love
yeah.
that comment, and it reminds me of a conversation I was having again with somebody I don't remember. I have a lot of conversations with people, but they were talking about in the future that there'll be a job called the AI prompt writer. Like in the creative team, you're going to have a designer, you're going to have an illustrator, you're going to have a 3D artist and stuff, and then you're going to have the AI prompt writer, the person who knows how to write the right prompt to get the results that people want, because there is an art to that exists that I don't know, but I see these stuff. I can usually get a decent result just making up my own creative prompt, but I know that there are all kinds of little rules and things in how you style and use the prompts to make it do exactly what you want it to do. And there you have to learn how to do that. There are a lot of YouTube channels right now that that's what they do. They teach you how to write better prompts for AI. You can find that information on there. So if it's something you're interested in, you should. I think it's something that designers should be interested in. You have to look at AI like a tool, like you look at Photoshop as a tool and Illustrator. It's and Adobe XD and whatever other tools you're using. And in one sense, all of those things are AI tools anyway, because there was a day in my early years of design. I graduated from university in 96, and people were still doing paste up. You're still cutting film and burning plates to run on a press for art. I learned letterpress typesetting in university. It was part of my curriculum. And who's doing that anymore to lay out an article? Nobody is doing that anymore because it's all computerized. And what is the computer? It's an AI tool that you use to produce the thing that used to take manual effort. And now you can produce it faster because of this tool that you as a designer know how to use. And me as a designer, I know how to use it. But the people 40 years ago were doing this stuff manually. They were doing it manually. And now we do it through an AI tool, the software that we know. And if you look at that perspective, you can say, okay, AI is just the next wave. This AI of image generation and copywriting is just the next wave of creative tools for designers to be able to use to enhance what they're producing for their clients. And I think that AI in the hands of a designer is going to be something like that in the future too.
Mm. Yeah, it's gonna be a very powerful tool for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
A very powerful tool. I think we shouldn't be as scared as we are right now. Maybe
Yeah.
I understand it's pretty new, that's why we are scared. It's understandable.
It is.
But I think soon people will understand the power of it and kind of use it as a tool, like you said. And I think it would be a really great one just to be free and do whatever we feel like it with it. So yeah.
So my advice to the people who are scared about it, like you just said, my advice is get over that fast, because the people who aren't scared are the ones trying to figure out, how do I implement this into my design or my creative process? How do I become the master of this thing? Because other people are going to figure that out. And the ones who don't are going to be the ones left behind. It's not going away. As much as you want to riot against AI imagery or AI content, copywriting, or whatever, you can complain all you want. It is not going to go away because of your rioting and complaining. It's still going to be here. So you should figure it out, just like the other people who are like, and figure it out. Plug your nose like you would if something stinks, and just say, you know what? I'm just going to figure this out. I got to figure it out because
Yeah,
other people are going to figure it out, and I don't want to be left behind. So that's my
true.
advice for people. It's not going anywhere.
I agree.
It's not going
I
anywhere.
agree. Just because you are not gonna like it or the result you don't like it, it's still gonna, keep on growing. It's
Yeah.
here to stay for sure.
Yeah.
So I think rather than we have to deal with it and try to see how we can use it for our benefits
Yeah.
without, doing illegal stuff with it for sure.
Yeah.
But
Well, you
yeah, I think
definitely
it's here
don't.
to
You
stay.
definitely want to be the master of it before your clients become the master of it, because
Yeah.
that's going to leave you behind. The people who figure out how to use it and leverage it for their benefit are going to be the ones who progress in the future of the creative world. And the people who throw a fit and don't embrace the reality of now are going to be the ones
Yeah,
who are left behind. And I just don't want that to be you, whoever is watching this.
for sure.
Don't be
For
you.
sure.
Don't be you. I should have pivoted.
Explore it.
Explore it. I should have pivoted at my
Yeah.
agency when social media boomed. Facebook boomed. It was like 2009, 2008, 2009, 2010. And Facebook blows up. And then they launch these business pages and stuff. And what did my agency do? Not social media. We should have been going to all our clients saying, hey, Facebook is blowing up. We're going to be a social media agency. We can help you leverage that platform. I should have done that. In hindsight, it was a big miss for me because I I didn't embrace the change. And this AI thing is the change that's happening. So don't be like Mike and stick your head in the sand when social media came out and I didn't embrace it as a business offering to my clients. Be like what Mike would do now and pivot your business to use that as a tool for you. AI.
Yeah. Explore as
Yeah.
much as you can, create with it, use it as a tool for sure.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, we have a couple of questions actually.
Okay.
And most of it is on the topics about growing your design business. I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
And a lot of people I know are trying to go from their 9 to 5 to exploring as a freelancer.
Yeah.
Because I remember in my 9 to 5, when I worked at an agency, I was just given a couple of clients and I used to work with them every single month. And I didn't get much time to explore like other fields or other clients or other industries in design anyways. So it was very difficult for me to kind of get clients in the first place. And I would love to know your thoughts about how we can get clients in the world that we are in today right now, and if there are any tips that you would like to give.
I love that question. That's the big fear for a lot of creatives. It's how do I find the next client? And in in one sense, it has never been easier than it is today for you to find clients. You can be anywhere in the world and find clients through social media platforms and online groups and build relationships with people anywhere in the world. You and I are a perfect example of that. We've been friends for 3 or 4 years now. And what city are
Yeah.
you in? Bengaluru?
Bangalore.
Bangal
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
in Utah, right?
Yeah, and I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah, on the almost exact opposite side of the world. Like you could if I started digging, we might find each other in the
Mm,
center of the earth. And
yeah.
um and here we are, and we've been friends for a long time, and we're doing content together now. The ability that you have to build a relationship with anybody anywhere in the world has never been easier. Now, that's on
Mm,
one sense. So, the advice about finding clients is get out there into the digital world and start building relationships. How did you and I start building relationship? You commenting on some of my posts, me commenting on some of your posts, us connecting in DMs, sharing each other's content here and there, and then just talking to each other in DMs. And over years of time, this becomes a relationship. And I know your quality of work. I recognize your design style when I see it in my feed. I'm like, oh, I know that's M's, that's her stuff. I know what it is because I'm familiar with your brand and your style. So, and I'm sure it's the same way with mine too. And we have that familiarity that came just through a digital relationship that we've had for the last few years. You can do that with anybody anywhere in the world. Go into there. You want to target a client at Disney. Let's just say it's your dream. Everybody's dream to work at Disney. That's what the dream is. So if that's your dream, then go find the creative directors at Disney, see what they're posting on their social media, see what they're posting on LinkedIn, see what they're sharing, and then go and start commenting on it. Comment on their content, and you'll over time build a relationship with them. They'll look at it and say, oh yeah, there's that person again. Oh, there's that person in my comments again. Oh, who is that person? And then you send them a DM and say, hey, I've been loving your content. Thanks so much for sharing. And they actually reply back because you've been giving them something of value, which is engagement to their content. So that's the way to build that relationship. And that's how you can find clients anywhere in the world. Now, it's a long term strategy. You do have to build a relationship with somebody and build that trust over time. But it's never been more available to you than it is right now. So just start. Now, the flip side of that, it's never been more competitive than it is right now because we're in a sea of noise in this world where it's a noisy world. There's a lot of content, a lot of posting that's happening. And so you have to somehow figure out, how do I get to be the person that gets noticed versus the person who just gets lost in the noise?
I agree. I agree because I think communication is such a big cue to all of this. And I feel a lot of people kind of lack in communication. A lot of them just go with the can you give me work
Yeah.
thing rather than building a genuine
Yeah.
relationship, I think.
Yeah.
I get so many emails, and I think it would be same for you that if you have checked my email, you should reply. Or
Yeah.
um, please let me know if you don't have work, I won't email again. And it's like they a lot of people expect something without giving anything.
Yeah.
A lot of people are not genuine about it.
So what is something that they can give that is valuable to you?
I think support,
Yeah.
even if you cannot give anything um, in terms of like design or like money or whatever it
Yeah.
is, like actual transaction, a support is good enough.
Yep.
But I don't think people are even ready to do that. I see a lot of emails with me in the BCC or CC section.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And it's just
it's a
mass
very
spent
generic
sent to
email.
everybody. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
It's
it's like
how
you're
you
not
and I became
genuinely.
friends. It was through mutual support. It is, because you would comment on my posts. I tried to comment
Mm.
on your posts when I would see them. You would send me a DM saying, "Oh, thanks for this post. I loved this." I would say, "Oh, thanks so much for connecting with me. I love hearing from you. I love that DM." That relationship is a mutual support that we provide each other, and it has huge value to me. If you go again, go back to this idea of finding a creative director at Disney on LinkedIn, what you're going to find is you're going to find people. If you look for creative directors or marketing directors or something at different companies, you're going to find that they're posting on social media, and most of the people aren't getting a ton of engagement. I've done this exercise a few times with people that I do one-on-one coaching with, where we'll pull up a target customer that they have, target client, and we'll go and find somebody in that company who is posting consistently articles. Like every week they post an article on LinkedIn, and in the comments of their post there are three comments. One is their business partner, the other one is their mom, and the other one is their spouse. That's the three comments in there. And then there's you have the opportunity to be that fourth comment. And then over a few comments of time, they start looking at it saying, "Man, who is this person that keeps supporting me? Nobody looks at my content except for this person." And they start to get interested in you because you're providing them with something of value to them, which is engagement and support. One of the first things that I do when I get these random emails through Instagram, or a random DM through Instagram of somebody looking for work from me, "Hey, I can edit short form video for you. Would love to." And I click on their profile and I look to see if they're following me. And if they're not
Oh God.
following me, if they don't
Yeah.
follow me, I don't reply. I get too many emails, I get too many messages from people who at least are following me, and I reply to those people. But if you don't even have the level of support to me to even follow my channel, and you're asking me to do work for me, that's an imbalance. That's an imbalance. So just at least click. If you're gonna go and approach people, at least follow them and provide that littlest morsel of support that you could provide to them. Because it's a line in the sand for me. I don't even reply to the people that don't follow me.
True.
Yeah.
And in the end, I don't think they can make videos for you if they don't even follow you. That means they don't know what you're for, what you create, your
Yeah.
content, or anything.
Yeah.
So they're not going to bring any value
Yeah.
in the end. So, why bother?
Yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah.
research the
Mm.
person that you're reaching out to. Make it a genuine one-to-one request. And you start with the DM starts with, "Hey, I've been following you. I just watched like 15 of your reels. I love your content so much. It's so valuable. By the way, I edit short form video, and I would love to work with you at some point if you're looking for a video editor." Well, that approach, they gave me value. They called me by name. They followed me. They researched me and gave me evidence that they researched me. by telling me they watched 15 of my reels. That has value to me too in the form of engagement on my channel. So there's value you can just drip into the first paragraph of your reach out that can get you noticed in comparison to all the people who just send the DM to a mass amount of people, blind CC email saying, hey, I edit short
Agree.
form video if you ever want some.
I agree. I mean, cold emailings, right? They are very important if you do it the right way. I mean, I have done it before and I still work with that client for like now 5 years.
Yeah.
I went through her. She's an amazing boss woman in her industry. She's a CEO of a big company, and she's a very transparent person when it comes to her industry and products that she's creating. And I followed her. I love her work, and I went through every design that her company has made, and the social media things they were doing, and the packaging they had, and everything. I emailed her with every little detail I could find. Like, oh, you've done this. I see you've
Mm.
got more, value because you have added these information in the description. What if we do it this way, or we
Yeah.
create a reel out of it, because Instagram is kind of pushing it. I can show you an example, and I did like a small social media post, a carousel and a reel for them, like, oh, this is the way we can kind of approach your audience, because it's pretty quick for them to learn about what
Mm-hmm.
you're doing and your audience and everything. Let me know what you think. I have it in two different colors. I see that you have these branding colors, and another one is just random pastel colors that you use. And they love it. They saw that I have a solution for them, which is not just a random thing, which was
Yeah.
very based on the problems I think they were having anyways.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm still working with them for
Yeah.
five years now.
5 years.
Yeah, and it's
Perfect
like, be
example.
genuine,
Yeah.
just be genuine, and you
Yeah.
can still cold email. It takes it takes some time to
Yeah.
just go through everything, but it's worth it, right? The
Yeah.
5 years
Especially
of
the
being
ones
in
you're
contact with
targeting.
friends,
Like if
trust
you're
me.
really targeting
Mm,
somebody, saying,
yeah,
and if your intention is to really provide value to them and let the transaction or the potential transaction just be a side byproduct of you intentionally providing value, then you stand a much better chance. I've done this with my social media. I gave away, I didn't even try to sell something to my audience for a year. I had 100,000 followers on Instagram before I even offered something for sale, which was my first course, my freelance course. Um, and building the 100,000 people audience, I did that by giving away free value after free value after free value. Here's carousels and videos, just free, free, free. And when I launched that uh, course, the first month was huge because I had this huge audience that had just been waiting because I had given them so much free value. They're just waiting for some opportunity to buy something back, to give, or I had proven that I have value to share, that they were ready to buy. And if you go with that mindset, just start providing somebody with your support and do that
yeah,
over time, and let's see what happens in your relationship over time. And you have somebody that you've had for 5 years that came out of you providing value to them specific to their business, and then it converted into a paid client for 5 years, and that's really the way it's done.
I agree. I agree. I think being genuine is very important with all of this, and just supporting each other
Yeah.
rather than just expecting on the first message that you send that person. I think that definitely gives you or puts you in a very positive light with that person for sure.
Yeah.
I
Agree.
agree.
Yep.
Yeah. So, do you have any top three tips that you want to give to people on how they can approach, even if it can be just one worded, like better communication or something? Just top three tips to getting better clients, good clients,
Mm.
I would say.
Okay, so getting good clients, you have to start acting like the business you want to be, not the business that you are right now. And if you're a solo freelancer and you're doing everything through email, here, I'll just email you a price, and there's no written document or proposal or formal contract, there's no professionalism in it, then you're going to be stuck being a freelancer for a long, long time. You have to start if your goal is to start doing bigger and better clients. You're competing against people who are operating their business in bigger and better ways than you. So make that proposal, walk your client through it, give them a contract, require that they sign it, start playing the bigger game that the bigger people are playing that are landing the bigger clients. And by nature, you'll start attracting bigger clients to you as a result of it. So you've got to start being the business you want to be, not the business you are right now. That's number one. Number two, relationships are everything. And there is value that you can give to a creative director working at Disney in Burbank, California. There is value you can give. You can be in India or Nigeria or who knows where. You can be anywhere in the world, and there is value that you can give them today. And it's in the form of genuine, authentic engagement on their content that they're sharing. Send them an email that says, "Hey, I really admire you. I saw you in the credits of this movie. And I loved that movie so much. And I saw that you were the art director for the animation. Just wanted to send you a little note and tell you how much I appreciated that." The amount of people that get messages like that is a lot less than what you think. I get messages like that from somebody who they'll say, "Hey, I bought all your courses over the last couple of years, and I have all your books, and I just wanted to reach out and tell you how much I appreciate you." And my mindset when they finally email me is like, "Why didn't you tell me that like 2 years ago? I would have loved to have been friends with you for the last 2 years." But when they give me value like that in the form of support to me and genuine authentic um gratitude, it means so much. And people aren't getting it. So that's number 2, I think. So first, organized, second, that authentic relationship. And then the third one that I would say is there are people in your exact same situation that are succeeding better than you because they believe that they can. And there is no limit anymore to your ability to produce as high quality work as anyone else in the world. You have the almost the same level of access to potential clients as anyone else in the world. And Maitreyee is a great example of this. She's doing work for US based clients. She's in India. Her work quality is exceptional, high quality, polished design, amazing designer, and great person. She's great to talk with, and the kind of person that you want to work with and be a friend with. And she's in India, and she's finding international based clients, and so can you. And so there are people in your exact same circumstances that are succeeding better than you. And a lot of it is because they believe that they can. And right now there's something limiting you. So don't believe your own barrier to that. There's no client that you can't try and reach. There's no client that you can't try and build a relationship with. There's no quality level that you can't learn to achieve through the free tools that you can find all over the internet. There's just no limit anymore to anyone, anywhere being able to succeed as a designer or a freelance business owner. There's just no limit anymore.
I think a lot of people just don't do it because they feel they're not ready yet. And I feel you're never going to be ready for something bigger than what you're doing right
Yeah,
now. And I think you just have to jump into it. And
totally.
that's how I think I got my bigger clients, because I'm like, you know what, I'll prove it to you. You're hiring me for this, I'll
Yeah,
prove it to you.
yeah,
And I think what my dad always says is like, what's the maximum thing they're going to do? Say no,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's it. Your world is not going to collapse.
yeah,
Nothing is going to happen. You can just learn from it, get constructive criticism from them, like
yeah,
what actually went wrong, and just actually keep your ego aside and just work on it and what actually went wrong and just grow yourself. And I think that's it.
yeah.
We have so many resources out there. We have amazing mentors like you. And I think we can just reach out to people and check their content out. I mean, your YouTube channel is so great. Just check any
Thank you.
subject out and you can find M talking about it, about
Yeah,
anything, to be very honest. So yeah,
yeah,
just be hungry, I would say.
yeah,
Just be hungry. Just
yeah.
have passion and be hungry.
Yeah, I love that, and that goes into what we started
Yeah.
this conversation about, this idea of self-education. If you're passionate and hungry
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
it, there's no limit to the knowledge that you can learn, and most of it for
Mm.
free, and there's no limit to the success that you can have, pretty much anywhere in the world. And of course, there's some, super remote places that may not be able to have the internet speeds and things that, but the majority of the world is available for you to conquer if that's what you choose.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think we've come a full circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a
It's
good way
good.
to stop right now because
It's
I think we
good.
can talk about this for
We
hours and for
could
days, for sure,
easily,
for sure,
easily.
easily.
Yep.
But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much for all the insights. There were so many and so great.
So
I think
fun.
people can take away amazing answers from this and amazing solutions they can apply to their daily creative lives. And thank you so much for accepting my
Thank
request.
you. Anytime. We need to do this more often than once every 3 or
I
4
would love
years.
to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's do
definitely.
that.
Once every 3 or 4 years. Yeah,
One of the
I
things that
think
I
that's.
wanna talk with you about more on a future
Uh-huh.
one, and we should just schedule that for a few months out, but
Sure.
how did you break out of the stereotype of somebody in India thinking that all the clients in
Mm,
India are cheap, which I know from
yeah.
the business culture that and enough people have said that that's something true, but you broke out and you have international clients. Why you? How did you do it? So
Mm,
that's just food for thought of something that I want to pick your
sure.
brain on more in the future.
Sounds great.
Okay. That was the
Let's schedule
teaser.
it, man.
That
I
was
would
the
love to.
teaser for
Yeah, that's the
the next
teaser for the next
episode.
one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds great. I think let's schedule it for sure.
Yep. Okay. Well,
Thank
this
you
is
so
super
much for
fun.
joining.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
I
much.
loved it.
Bye everyone. See you in the next one.